give myself the 1 days, that became unhealthy. But then I realized like 1, 2 days, even a week is not gonna set you back.
Right.
Like you just, what do you do the next day? You restart and you keep moving forward. Like you just don't stop. It's like when we talk about like God can't move you if you're standing still.
Oh
You
yeah.
literally just keep moving forward every day. Like it's you just keep moving forward, keep doing these things. If you didn't eat good the last day, wake up tomorrow, get 30 grams of protein for breakfast. It just you have to start somewhere, and most of the time you start very small.
Right. Well, and that's what you've taught me. You taught me not to. Well, I think being able to heal from the past way I've looked at it, getting over the way I've seen it, and the way I did it for so long. I think once you start looking at it through the lens that God actually. Hey guys, it's me and Sadie. We're going to do things a little bit different today, and I'm kind of excited about it. We wanted to do a podcast about health. And since I'm learning and Sadie's getting really good at it, I thought we would, I don't know, do a little question and answer. And so that's how we're going to do this podcast. I hope you guys are interested. Come join us as we talk about health. You excited?
Yeah, especially because like a lot of what we're doing recently is to do with like mind, body, and soul. So like working on all those aspects. So it's been really cool to like dive in more on all of these health aspects. That's not just like mental, spiritual, but also physical.
Yeah, I've been learning a lot. Well, of course, it has to do with mental healing. And then once you go through the mental healing, I think you're ready for the physical healing and stuff like that. I think that's how God works. I had a doctor years ago ask me about that. When I was going through depression and stuff, he was saying what you have to do is mind, soul, and body. And he said it was like a stool, which I thought was kind of odd at the time until we started doing it. He said, your spirit is the part where you sit on, but you also need legs to go with it. So you need your soul and your body to be just as good as your spirit. And so I thought that was a really good analogy, kind of, I guess, to make you stable. I never really cared about the whole stool thing. I thought it was a little odd, but I got what he was trying to tell me.
Yeah.
So that was the main point of it.
Well, you want your body to be most Christ-like. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you want your mind to be and your spirit to be and your body to be, because our bodies are gifts. So like, you just want to take care of it. And like you want your physical being to be as strong as your mental being and your spiritual being, and you want them all to be all strong so we can function the way that God wants us to function. But that's like something that was newly learned for me, because when I first started to get more in like the healthy lifestyle, it was purely because after I had my daughter, I was like really overweight, and I've never been overweight in my life. And so like when I did that, um, it was just new for me. I didn't like the way I looked ever. And then I don't know, then it just followed with a lot of unhealthy habits. And I just like, I'm a systems person. I like routine, I like schedule, and our lives became very messy. And it was almost like, and I say our lives because it was both my husband and I. Our lives just became very messy, and then we just started to become like, not just our brains were messy and our bodies were messy, but then our lives, our like the appearance of our lives, like our schedules and our houses and just like finances, and we're super like undisciplined and unmotivated. It just started to spiral into this really unhealthy lifestyle, and we just really didn't like it. And so when my husband decided to go into the police academy, like he's a fireman now, but when he first started, we had both reached a point where we were like it's just we've just reached a point. Like this isn't how we want to live. This is not how we want to look. This is not the examples we want to set for our kids. And it became very like body focused. Like we wanted to lose the weight. We wanted to look nice. We wanted to, and it wasn't really about like health necessarily. It was just forming that um, like that habit of working out and like looking
Yeah.
better and losing the weight. And I did that for a long time, and um, I've done it. I've learned a lot of different ways, and I've done it in different ways, and all of them really boil down to the same principles. But then after a while, once we moved here, I had done it for a while, and once we moved here, we really started to work on this stuff, and it became about mind, soul, and body.
But I think a lot of times we find it restricting. I mean, for years I did the health thing, you know. I only thought about my body image, but then I was always wanting a way out. And so when I got sick and I lost movement of my arm, it was easy to be like, okay, I had this one for years, and that gave me an out for it. But I realize now that it has to do with healing spiritually, so
Mm-hmm.
you can not feel like it's a trap, just a constant thing that you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
That you're healing all the parts that God has
Mm-hmm.
called us to heal, because we don't have to be so trapped in the routine and constantly focused on ourselves. That's how I felt in the beginning for years. I just felt like the weight thing was just, I was constantly, that's all I could think about. I couldn't think about God. I couldn't think about anything else except for the weight. And I feel like this time around, you know, even with Sadie helping and being able to move forward in it, and seeing it differently, sometimes you have to repackage it, because, I mean, we want to be able to heal body, soul, and, you know, spirit. And if you look at it like that, it doesn't seem so in bondage. It doesn't seem like you're just being carrying around a chain all the time. Like this is
Yeah.
all there is.
Well, when I first started, that was my whole identity, like fitness, like hitting my macros and always working out and talking about it, and like
Yeah.
it just became like something that was both mine and my, especially because like that was what his job was geared towards. Even when he moved to the fire academy, it's all physical stuff, like all working out all day. And it just became a lot of who we were at that point because we were very deep into it. And after a while, that was just like I didn't like that, because that became what my whole mind was about. And that's
Right.
that's what I was saying when we moved here and we started doing this stuff. And that's what this is when it started to kind of shift into a different way for me, because I do think after I started putting so much thought and effort into it, it started to slow down towards the end of last year, where I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to do my cardio and I'm just going to eat less.
Yeah.
And it wasn't necessarily eating nutrient food and all that, but it was just like eating less, and just movement and cardio. Like that was it. But then when we moved here, like, and we started doing the like what we're doing and
Right.
working on the mind, soul, and body, um, and it also was a very unhealthy relationship I had with the scale. And so just because I got so into it, it just
I
became
think we all
so.
have an unhealthy relationship with the scale. I did from the whole time you guys were little. I mean, I was obsessed with weight
Mhm.
from the time Jocelyn was born, my third daughter. I don't think I really wasn't obsessed. I was always comparing myself to other people and how they looked and wanting to look the same. I think that's why at one point when I got sick, I just decided was it was like a weight that came off that I didn't care. And I think it bothered people that I didn't care, but then that was unhealthy too, because then you go the opposite direction of just not caring. And then at some point you have to care again. At some point.
Well, your body just gets, it's just unhealthy. Like it's just I think that's why I said, like, being here at my mindset has changed so much. And I don't know if it's been a lot of prayer, because I know, like, through talking about this, like, God has kind of pushed me in this direction. It's kind of like fixing my mindset about it, and I've really really had to pray about it, to where I'm like, God, help me prioritize the healthy things,
Right.
And a lot of my mindset in the past even few months, because we haven't been here for very long, but like when we first moved here, I kind of got out of everything. Like everything was new. I needed to get back into my routines and my systems, But like when I did, and I kind of prayed about it, because I obsessed about the things, like the wrong things, like the scale, and it was just like a lot of. It's just there's so much you could learn about it. But one of the things I was asking God is like, help me have a healthy view of this. Like I don't want to obsess over these things, and I felt like the biggest thing that He really ingrained in my mind, engraved in my mind is like movement is key, no
Right.
matter what kind of movement, and like health, like health, nutrient foods. And because for a while I would just eat a lot of processed foods, and I thought, well, because I haven't hit my, if I stay underneath my calories for the day, it's fine. And granted, that does work, but your body doesn't feel good.
Right.
And it started to shift from that to, I just want to be healthy. Like, I want my body to feel good. I want my brain to feel good. And like, and now I'm in this place where it's not as, I didn't pay as much attention to it. I have other things in my life going on,
Yeah.
other like responsibilities and tasks that I like, and working out is just a small part of my day, and eating is just a small part of my day. But I've also spent the last year and a half learning foods and learning different things that now I'm just really trying to focus on nutrient foods.
Well, I've benefited from it because I'm not obsessed with my weight anymore. I mean, yes, I want to go down, and yes, I want to be healthy. Like, and Sadie's been helping me with that. But I feel like the chains of some of the stuff is not as heavy as they were in the
Mhm.
past. Being able to do it, with looking at it differently in a healthier way, and wanting to be healthy and not just in comparison mode or trying to be like the next mom
Well, I feel
and
like
doing it like that.
God's helped us on, like, with tools, like bringing tools into our lives, like with like the life wave patches,
Right?
like
Those
just
have been
bringing
amazing.
like healthy tools into our lives that are still like natural, and still, we're not pumping ourselves full of stuff, but they're just
Right.
tools to help us feel better, to help detox our bodies, to help, like our bodies reset. And just like a lot of
That X39 for, as far as like the brain fog and the different things since my surgery, I just haven't seemed to, as far as my hormones and different things, just they kind of slowed me down. But it seemed like with the X39, my brain waves started like firing faster. Like I could figure out a conversation. When you're in a conversation with somebody, sometimes you're just like staring off and you're really not sure where you're going through all the files trying to figure out where the next file is going to come from.
mm,
But I've realized that I don't have to fight for that next file. As
mm.
it just comes. I mean, and it seems to get better and better the better the longer I do it and the healthier I get. Seems.
Well, and I like it for like I feel like it's helped me with, and I'm not gonna say motivation, because like, motivation is something that you kind of have to like push yourself to do, but like the energy to have the motivation. Like, I've had a lot more energy. I'm a lot more concentrated, a lot less foggy, and like that has been really helpful, because then I can just keep moving during the day.
Right.
It's very helpful. And like with the sleep ones, they help me with my sleeping. Although I don't really get very long sleep or like uninterrupted sleep, when I'm sleeping, it helps with being in a deep sleep, staying in that REM state, and like, I feel better rested in the morning. So like, I just think that God's helping us in this season change a lot of the like stigmas. Is that the right word?
Yeah, I do too. I looking at it differently, and not so unhealthy. I, you also can get on the other side of it to where you make so many excuses to where you're like, I just don't want to be like that person and that person, and that's why I'm not losing weight. And it's very easy to get on either side of the scale, and you watch how this, some of the women do the weight loss, and you're like, I'm not doing that. And then you
Mm-hmm.
get kind of angry and rebellious. That's where I've been. Just kind of, that's not going to be my whole identity. I really, and I still believe that. That's not going to be my whole identity. But I don't think it has to be. And that's what God's showing me. It doesn't have to be your whole
Mm-hmm.
identity. If you do it the way I designed it, if you do it with your mind, soul, and body, I've got, the movement for you, the rhythm that it takes to make you healthy, and I didn't see it until Sadie started moving in that direction, and then I watch her daily in the movement that she does, and she makes it look like it's easy, and it's not a trap. I mean, of course, I'm still the mom, and I still get rebellious at times, but I she's helped focus. I think focus is the right word for how to accomplish what our mission is.
Well, I just feel like it's all so overcomplicated.
Yeah.
Like our goals are to And my goal was this in the beginning too, and it has slightly changed. And granted, I did lose the weight, and I did kind of, reach the point. But like, even even now, like our goals are just to, look better than the next person, and
Yeah.
who has the most like aesthetic gym videos, and status, like who could say. And honestly, like once you start changing it to just health, I just want to become healthy, and you kind of learn the tools that you need. You don't need to go to be in the gym 6 times a week doing heavy lifting. Like
Yeah.
literally you could do, 3 sets of, I mean 3 days of just some sort of strength training, no matter what it is, and then the rest just try to walk, try to do cycling, some sort of like getting your body moving. And even if you don't go to the gym, just moving, like going on an hour a walk, or doing like an hour of like on like a bike cycling, or even Nana and Papa, they walk around the mall.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, she showed me that this
Or
morning.
they go and they do aquasize and stuff. It's just moving your body. Like your goal is just to be healthy. And once you stop putting so much energy on like the status of it, and just like, oh, I want to eat this because, and it's hard. Trust me, like I want to, as like the young kids, and I use, because I'm young, like be a big back, and I want to eat, and I want to eat, and I want to eat. You know what I'm saying? But like, and I want to go to Taco Bell, and I want to eat In and Out, and I want to do all those things. But and I did do that for a while, because I was like, even though I'm underneath my calories, it's fine if I eat this much processed food. But like, I just want my body to be as healthy as it can be.
Right.
And like, this is where I'm trying to move, is making healthy a health, like a more healthy, sustainable like lifestyle, to where it's not called dieting, it's just healthy living.
Yeah,
And so
wellness.
like,
Yeah.
and like that's just where I want to be. And I feel like that's just where God's helping me. And another thing that people skip out so much on is the power of like pray, the power in prayer in this process.
Yeah, it's helped me because I have. It took God to tell me that it was time to move in a different direction. I was. I think I was bitter about it for a really long time. So I'm like, I went when the younger years as you guys were growing up,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of I didn't eat that much, and I didn't really. I'm not a big sweet eater, but I realized that
Ooh,
in order for my hormones to get back on track, I needed to do something different, which has been helpful with the P36 on the life wave patches. So well, that's
oh,
where
the
the
other.
stem
Oh, I
cells.
see what you're saying. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. I know what you're saying.
this one, that one's for the hormone control,
Yeah.
which is the one that has really helped me as far as like my cravings and the control of the things that I appetite. Yeah, but I'm realizing that the things that I argued with God about, I don't eat that much. Because I realized that I did eat more than I should have, and I wasn't. I didn't eat at appropriate times. Like I would starve myself, and then all of a sudden I would want to eat, and then when I did eat, I would eat a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that my body was not created to just binge eat.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I thought the intermittent fasting was really. You just starved yourself, and then all of a sudden you ate everything you saw, and then you felt like crap afterwards.
Yeah, it's like a cycle.
And oh my god, this is not working. This is not working. I don't know what you want to do here. I don't. But then then Sadie started explaining it, and we started putting together that wellness guide, and the things and the tools that we were using. I started feeling better, and I was like, okay, I realized that you're trying to change the way I think about losing weight, not just losing weight. It has to do with my mind as well, and that I don't have to look at it with so much bitterness.
Yeah. Well, that's why I said, like the last like year and a half, because I started probably like a little over a year and a half ago. Like I really, and like that's just how, like I don't know, like I guess I'm like my dad. I just like to like absorb everything, and I like routines, and I like systems, and I've enjoyed, because I've done it in different ways. All of them resulted in a calorie deficit, calories in, calories out. Yeah. But I've done it the way where I'm like counting the macros, hitting every single macro on point. I've done it to where I'm just in a calorie deficit, but I'm eating majority processed foods. Like I've done it to where I'm working out 5-6 times in the like weightlifting, like in the gym, and you know what I'm saying. But it's just like all of that's just so complicated. Like it just doesn't have to be. Like it could be so like simple, but it just and like I said, and that's something that I've really learned recently because I've spent so much time praying about how to understand it healthier because I did make it a looks thing for a long time and I don't want to teach people
Mm.
looks thing.
Well, it just becomes a bondage thing. And in the church world, my goodness, in the church world, it's like everybody, well, I think that's in life too. I mean, just, but it's almost like they look at you as being less holy,
Mm-hmm.
being overweight. And I think I noticed that when I started gaining weight. And then I started listening to the way they started interacting with each other. And I told God, I'd rather stay fat than go through that. I'm not going to be in that group to where that's where my full identity comes from.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted him to be my full identity,
Mm-hmm.
but there had to be a way to make this a healthy transition.
Yeah.
Because I know that we can't stay overweight. That's not the way he created us.
Mm-hmm.
That he created us to be healthy,
Yeah.
and that's my goal is just to get my body to work and function the way God created it to. And and that's why I decided, okay, I'm ready to lose weight. And it's a mind thing. You have to mentally decide that's what you want to do. Sadie was telling me that earlier. At some point, you mentally decide this is what you're going to do. And I think God helps with that because He walks us through that,
Mm-hmm.
and He starts working, with us and giving us our children to help us look at things differently. As mothers, sometimes we need to be able to look at this and acknowledge that we're looking at even weight in an unhealthy way.
Well, weight is just such a sensitive topic for people, so it's really hard to like to talk about because it's so sensitive and like and that's just one thing like in this process I really try to learn is I don't want it to be like sensitive. I just want the whole thing to be like I want to be as healthy as I can so God can use me
Right.
as a kingdom warrior. Like I want to be able to move my body. I want to be able to have all my brain, like my like shooting at every of the highest points to where I can hear him speak physically. I want to be able to feel good. I want to be able to and it's just like it just
If
gets
we want to go on mission trips, we have to be able to withstand the mountains that we're going to have to. That's a big motivation.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it. It's just like it's just so sensitive because everyone has an like something to say about it or it hurts people's feelings and stuff. And I think once we just reach a point where it's just like I just want to be healthy. Like I want my
Right.
body to be at the highest point of health so God can use me in the way I was intended.
Right. Yeah, and I think I went the opposite direction for a long time. I mean, the more people were like, "You need to lose weight," or soft, it was more of a soft nudge.
Well, it was
I
like
think,
like
but
it's like a judgmental thing.
yeah,
Like I'm holier
exactly.
than you because I've
And
seen you.
and my personality, sadly, is the more you push me, the worse this is gonna get because I feel like you're trying to manipulate me, and manipulation has never been something that I
Mm.
do well. And so, but if we look past the manipulation, if we look past the judgment, and we look into the lens of who God has created us to be, then we look at things in a healthier manner and it's not so complicated.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't feel like digging our heels in and making a statement, which is not healthy. God showed me that it's not healthy either. So you can go from one side to the other, and it's all a growing process.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us what your movement routine looks like.
The advice I would give anybody trying to, kind of like move in this, area is I would say strength train 3 times a week. And it doesn't even have to be heavy. It literally could just be anything. Just where you're moving your muscles, you're getting strength in your muscles. And then the rest of the time, literally just walk for an hour. Go on like an hour walk or do like an indoor bicycle or go to and do aquasize for an hour. Just move your, and even if you don't do strength training, you don't even have to do that. Just move your body for an hour a day. And that's, I mean, obviously don't couch potato the rest of the day. You want to
Right.
keep yourself moving the rest of the day because, I mean, after the hour, you still have your whole day. You want to, make sure you're still moving. But like, that's all I would recommend is an hour a day, just like walk or move or something. And that's where it started for me. It was just like, okay, this is an hour out of my day. Like, that's it. And like,
Yeah.
that's what I do. And I didn't do strength training for a while, but I also have a little bit different goals in this season, which is like, I just want to have strength. Like, I want to be strong, so
Yeah.
I want to implicate 3 days of dedicated strength training and then do 30 minutes of cardio afterwards. And that's all you need. That's all you need. And I don't want to be too crazy about it, but that's how it works in my life. Like, we're all moms or dads, or we have kids and we have jobs, we have lives. Like, I mean, you can just literally dedicate an hour a day to bettering your physical health, and you're giving yourself the greatest gift by taking care of yourself in that way.
So how do you motivate yourself?
Mm,
That's a big one.
in the beginning, you're very motivated, and I feel like I was very motivated because I didn't like myself. I was overweight and I didn't feel good, and I've always been athletic my whole life, and I just wasn't, and I didn't like it. And so at first it starts with motivation, but it slowly dies, and you realize after your few days of motivation and your grocery run and you got all the right foods you need, you're like, oh, this sucks. But what helped me is, I think, there's like I'll go back to I feel like a lot of people have read this, but Atomic Habits, they talk about habit stacking. And if you just do one thing like every single day, and sometimes it doesn't have to be every single day, just one new thing every week, like, okay, I'm going to spend 1 hour, or even 30 minutes, 30 minutes a day walking. You do that for a while, and then you're like, all right. And you're like, I'm going to move up to an hour. Or you're going to be like, for me, it was, how do I juggle all this at once? And so for me, it was like, I'm going to, because I struggle getting in like my Bible time in the day. Like, that's what I struggle. And it's not because, but that just is a struggle for me because I have a hard time sitting still. But like for me, it's like, I'll do that the first of my day. But that's something that I wanted to add. And the next thing is like, after because I feel like that's the first thing you should make sure you add in your day when you're talking about health, because you're not going to do this without God's help. But next thing is like, all right, well, I've done consistently 30 minutes or an hour a day of walking. I'm going to add 30 grams of protein to my day. And then you add 30 grams of protein to your day. Then after you get that, you realize, okay, 30 grams of protein is not that bad. I'm going to maybe have 2 meals that have about 30 grams of protein. And then, like, it's just small, like habit stacking as it becomes your daily routine. And for me, like, after I had my kids, my house was just like a mess, and that was one thing that was so important, was like, I do not want my house to be consistently a mess. So for me, it was spend an hour a day every single day cleaning. And now I've habit stacked so much that it's become sort of my daily routine, things that like help me feel sane throughout the day, that like now it's just part of my routine. Now I move an hour a day and I clean my house an hour a day. And recently, because I never really took care of myself, making sure, like, this is not something you have to do, but this is just part of me. This is my advice
No,
for me.
it's important advice
Just
because
like,
I thought that me, my focus is when I first started is I wanted to learn how to intercessory prayer for and I wanted to dig into that. But if I would put the passion, I mean, because God's been moving me and showing me that it's not just about learning how to pray, it's not just about, reading your Bible, that I've got to have a healthy view of the whole thing, that He created us to. Yes, it's important to intercessory prayer because that's where I love spending hours and hours just being able to spend time with God. But He's showing me that you could be so heavenly good that you're no earthly good, and I don't want to.
mm-hmm.
I don't want to just. I want to be able to function and bring heaven to earth, and the only way I'm going to be able to bring heaven to earth is if I'm healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying is important.
Well, like, once you start doing these things, I didn't, when I started making sure that my house stayed clean, I didn't. I just wanted it to be clean. At first it started like I want to be one of those moms whose house is clean. But
Right.
then it became something that God talked to me through, and it was just like steward the things that I've given you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'll,
Yeah.
you'll get more, and as I've taken time to care about the things that He steward, I and like this is not my whole intention, but he provides more. He
Right.
upgrades things in life, and like, I never cared about like I said, and this is me, but I never cared about like doing my makeup or doing my hair or putting on clothes or whatever. But that became something that I wanted to do because I wanted to do it. Like if I'm going to upkeep my house, I'm going to take care of my body, and I get my kids dressed every day. Why am I not doing the same for myself? It really also kind of boils down to a little bit is caring about yourself, because I feel like moms feel like they're the last person to take care of. You have to take care of everybody else. But how are you going to take care of everyone else if you're not taking care of yourself? Because then you're just spiraling down. And so then I started, making sure, and this is how habit stacking, at least getting ready like 2 times a week, you know.
Yeah.
And
No,
then and
that's
then
important.
I started doing it, and then it just, then I was like, ooh, I kind of want to put, jeans on more. I kind of do my hair more. And then I started to enjoy it, and it became something that I loved and doing, because it also just made me feel, I know this is like I said, it's me, how I feel, but it also made me feel more feminine,
Well,
you know?
it does, and also it's contagious because as I've watched her, and that's why I was excited about this podcast today, is because as I've watched her, it makes you want to do things differently. You know, you raise your kids up to be amazing human beings, and then they start teaching you stuff, and that's kind of that's kind of how I've been. Is I've you know you live 43 years, and my birthday is coming up, so I'm getting used to that number. It's actually 42, but you live so long, and you start getting it, in these habits, of ways of thinking and ways of doing things. And God's been showing me that, I make progress, but then there's just a few things that are holding me back. And he was showing me that this is an area that I fall back on because I start having old patterns of the way I think about it, and then I start getting angry, and I remind him, that I don't want to be like those women who constantly just think about themselves. But then he's also moving me into, the internet, doing stuff on the internet, in which, I didn't like doing those either. So he's showing me that we do things, we do things we don't like. And when we do things,
That's literally
when
it.
our mind is in the right place and unfocused on him, he, that narrow gate that he gives us, if we will stick to that and listen for his voice, he will show us how to get through. And I really think that that's what he's done with Sadie, is he's taught her how to be, habit stacking, all these really important things, that I knew, but then I got stuck in an old pattern of bitterness and those things that you get after a while, and then you start making excuses for. And that's where I was at. I could make excuses and remind him a lot, but it's a good thing that he's a good father, and he's like,
Well,
no,
and
Lois.
that's it. Like we just do the things we don't want to do because we know they're good.
Yeah.
Like we have flesh.
Right.
Our flesh doesn't want to eat the good food. Our flesh doesn't want to move. Our flesh wants to stay lazy. Our flesh, like we're fighting with a real enemy that loves chaos, loves like unhealthy habits, loves mental illness, loves all this stuff, and all of these things are so beneficial when you realize that you're fighting with all that stuff. Like you just gotta do it anyway. Like that's my
Right.
biggest advice is do it anyway. Like at some point it just is fully motivation, and I mean discipline, and but you have, I feel like what helped me get to the discipline was the habit stacking, small things every single day that became routine. And now I don't even know how to get out of those. They've just become so much of my life every single day that like I feel like I can't really think straight if the house is messy, or like if it's hit the end of the night and I haven't got my workout in. And it doesn't have to be so strict. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm tired. It's the end of the night. I'm not gonna do it. Sometimes I go way over on my eating, and it's fine. That's not gonna ruin it. Like you just really want 80% of your diet to be, you know, whole foods, nutritious foods, and then that 20%, is fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't take it so seriously, but just, you have to keep going. Like, just because you had like one day doesn't mean it set you back.
Right.
It's not like that serious. That's why I say that was one thing that I had to work on, is because I wouldn't give myself the 1 days. It became unhealthy. But then I realized like 1, 2 days, even a week is not gonna set you back.
Right.
Like you just, what do you do the next day? You restart and you keep moving forward. Like you just don't stop. It's like when we talk about like God can't move you if you're standing still.
Well,
You
yeah.
literally just keep moving forward every day. Like it's not easy, but it's simple. You just keep moving forward, keep doing these things. If you didn't eat good the last day, wake up tomorrow, get 30 grams of protein for breakfast. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just things that you do for so long that become part of your life, but you have to start somewhere, most of the time you start very small.
Right. Well, and that's what you've taught me. You taught me not to. Well, I think being able to heal from the past way I've looked at it, getting over the way I've seen it, and the way I did it for so long. I think once you start looking at it through the lens that God actually created us to look through, then that's when you're able to step out into it. It doesn't become such a bondage. But if what is a myth that you think most women are under, most people are under, that they're thinking about?
Well, for me, in all the times that I've tried to, lose the weight or get healthy, was thinking that like it's like if I ate a bunch of healthy food, but it wasn't, I just overate it all, I would still lose weight, or I'd still, be healthy because I, I mean, it was supposed to be healthy,
Right.
and so, and it's not necessarily a myth. It's just something that people aren't aware of. And when I was aware of that fact, like just because it's healthy doesn't mean this is going to benefit me. Because for me, like I've been learning, for me, it was weight loss for so long and getting healthy. And now it's not so much weight loss, it's just getting healthy and staying healthy,
Right.
staying there. But in the beginning, like lack of knowledge. Like you just want to learn as much as you can. But in the beginning, it's because this is healthy, I can eat as much of this as I want. And it's not like that. I mean, granted, if, it's just goals. Like if you want to stay at like a maintenance area, some of this is fine. But if your goal is, I'm overweight and I want to get down to a
Right.
more healthier weight for myself, you can't eat all of that, because and that was what I didn't get in the beginning, because I didn't know that um just because it was healthy means I can eat as much as I want of it.
Right. And I think it's important to be able, skinny or overweight or wherever you're at in your journey, I think it's important that we start with being able to look in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I went for years, and I think it was, I watched the way women reacted to each other, and so it made me insecure. But then we stopped getting in front of the camera because we're ashamed of how we look, and I think in order to get to where we need to be, we need to be able to look in the mirror, be able to see ourselves differently. There was so many pictures that Dad took of me that when he would show me, I immediately would go to the negative. Oh, that, all that. But I'm realizing that, you know, it's not as bad as I thought it was, and I'm able to look at myself through God's eyes, and that is important.
Mm-hmm.
I think that once we are able to look at ourselves through God's eyes, then we are able to walk into that,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not so much of a bondage type situation to where all we can think of is everything that's wrong with us.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter how skinny we are. I've been on the very skinny side. I've been able, to be a health coach, and I did aqua sizing and all the right things, and but if you don't have a healthy lens to look through,
Mm-hmm.
it's very easy to fall back.
Yeah.
And never come around, because you're just constantly trying to find a way out of living this cycle of comparison, and
Yeah.
always that's all you think about.
Well, and that's why when I was telling you the other day that I saw this video and he was like talking about how hey bro, like how long did it take you to reach that physique? And he was like, it took me 5 years. And then he heard the 5 years and he's like, oh, like got super discouraged. And it's like, well, if you don't start viewing your health as a like long-term thing,
Right.
that stuff is just not worth it to you.
Right.
Because for me, um there was like, after even I lost all the weight, I just kind of was like, oh, I'm over it. Like this is just too much. Like I just don't like always having to watch what I eat, always trying to do this. And after you're in a calorie deficit for an amount of time, sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes you need to give yourself a break because you just get tired out. You get tired of being hungry
Right.
and like
Yeah.
tired. But like then I just ate whatever I wanted. It was when we first moved here too. I was just like, whatever, like, I'm fine. Like I just, and then I was thinking, like I said, in this last few months of prayer of like, health and how do I biblically try to teach this? And it was my long-term goals weren't about health. It was being skinny.
Yeah.
And like once I started to try to change that because I just want to be healthy, I want my family to be healthy, I want to learn these things, I want to like fuel my body, I want to, then it started to change because now I'm like, I just want to find the best way possible to make this sustainable for my life.
Right. And I taught when I was a health coach, Sadie was, the mascot of everything I did. So she got firsthand of the unhealthy way of looking at everything. So not only did she have to overcome the thinking that I had when I was going through the health and teaching other people how to look at their health, when I supposedly was looking at through God's eyes, but I really didn't understand what that meant.
Well, I don't think you did it unhealthily. The thing is, I guess part of the myth thing. The other thing that I don't think is like paleo, keto, like, those things are like, don't do them. You know what I'm saying? Because like, that's not sustainable. Right. It's so restrictive. Like when I was talking to you about the other day, it was just like, you had these little tiny containers that you put your food in, and that's what you were limited to the whole day. You know what I'm saying? And like I just think about people who do that, and like I feel like that's one reason why they just want to stop, because they're filtering their food through colored cups. You know what I'm saying? And like that's
at the time that's what I was selling. Okay.
Well, I know, but that's what I'm saying. It's just not, it's not that. You know what I'm saying? Like obviously, if you want to lose weight, it's calories in, calories out. Like that's
right.
The principle. You're to lose weight, you're borderline, in starvation mode. Your body has to eat its fat, so you're going to be hungry. But also, like when you get out of that, you can stay at a maintenance area and you can, eat food. And also with that, like you think you cut out carbs so much. There's just so many things. Like with keto, you cut out carbs so much that where you feel so weak and you feel so drained. But that's because carbs are used to fuel your body, fuel your energy, fuel your workouts, fuel you through your day, be medicine for your muscle and your mind, and like keep that energy. Your body wants to burn the carbs to fuel your body, and so if you're not having that, then like you're just really drained. And that's why I'm trying to learn the health. That's why I'm trying to learn more about it, because like I said, I have done it to where I'm like, as long as I stay within my calorie limit, it doesn't even matter. But like then your body's lacking in that nutrients that it needs to make you feel 100%.
Well, I have really enjoyed my brain working right, and I know that seems like that's weird, but I have, with my nervous system, didn't take much to fluster me, and then I'd lose all thought or be so tired after a conversation that I just needed to sleep all day. My nervous system is very weak, and I have been addicted to the way Sadie's been teaching me how to eat, and the way we've been moving, and the patches and the different things. I've been addicted to watching my brain work the way it's supposed to, and my hormones working the way they're supposed to, and and seeing results in littler ways, but they're exciting because they're different results than the world would see as, oh, that's exciting. Yeah. But they're exciting to me because I'm just like, wow, I wrote that book, or I wrote that chapter a lot faster than I would have, before. And those are the things that are exciting to me.
Yeah, and I think that women just kind of get stuck in this place where they're stuck and they don't know what to do and they don't know how to make it better. But like, I mean, you can do it. You just have to have confidence in yourself, because like we were like, we're not we're just like everyone else. We're just learning and we're just trying to make it healthy. And like, you know, like I was at a place where I felt that way, and I was like, and I also used having kids in the beginning as a crutch because I had 2 kids in 2 years, and I was like, oh, girls are like, women are supposed to get that way. It's fine, you know, like they could stay in this. Like literally, like after you have
Well,
kids, like that's just what's supposed to
and you
happen.
saw the unhealthy way I looked at life too, which wasn't helpful. But we are learning together. The fun thing about your oldest daughter is that she not only gets to see all your mistakes, but then you get to learn all the good stuff together. You know, with all my kids,
Become besties
you
for the
know,
resties.
we just have learned so much together, and there's not one thing that I've learned that I haven't been able to teach them, and there's not one thing that they have learned that they haven't taught me, which has been a really blessing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
having all my kids by the time I was 26, I wasn't exactly sure what that looked like with grandkids and all that now, but it's actually a really, once you get past the diapers and the potty training and all that,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it becomes a blessing because you get advice and you get to learn life, and you get to look at life through so many, and I got 5 of you, so I get 5 lenses of how to look through life.
Mm-hmm.
And God blessed me with kids that like me, so you know, I love being able to spend time with each of you and learn from you. And this new journey of being healthy has been an
It's been fun.
exciting journey.
I enjoy sharing it.
Yeah.
Like it's been fun for me to learn. I've done it a lot of different ways, and I enjoy when I see it helping people or like working for people, because then it's just fun. Like what you went through, like what you've learned all this time is being put to like use, and it's working. And so then you just, I don't know, I've really enjoyed it. So I guess that would be my steps for this process is movement every day for an hour, you know, and try to get 20 grams of protein in every meal, and don't cut carbs out because carbs are good, and try to get 10,000 steps. Like once you walk for an hour, I swear to you, you'll get your 10,000 steps. But that's just like a healthy place you want to get. And if you can't get 10,000, shoot for 8,000.
And make sure that you're praying daily.
Yes.
And renewing your mind, because the health of your body is important, but your spirit is also so very important.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to look at yourself in the mirror, to be able to walk forward, because God, yes, He's in our past because He covered it with His blood, and He, you know, is the God of all time. But He doesn't want us to stay in our past. Mm-hmm. He wants us to use our past to bless others. Yes, but that's not where He wants us to stay. He wants us to move forward in the things that He's created us to do. So we have to start looking even at weight loss differently. We have to look at health differently, and the way He created our bodies differently. And once we ask Him how He looks at us, then we have to listen for His voice so we know which direction to go.
And that was a very new thing for this season, is asking God to help me look at this process through His lens.
Yeah.
And that's what's been kind of helping my brain shift in that area of just like wanting to be healthy, not just wanting to be skinny.
Right.
You know, wanting to just be healthy for my family, like be those things because it's good.
It's good. And that's what He showed me. It's good. You know, he created us to long to do the things that He's created us to do. And He's showing me that in order to do that, I need to be healthy. My brain needs to function. My hormones need to work correctly. My, you know, the way I look at food needs to be through His lens. The way I move my body, you know, the rhythm of the things that He's created me to do. He created me to do all of that. And in order to move forward in the things that He's created us to do, we have to be able to look at it in a healthier way. It has to be through His lens. Mm-hmm. Because if it's not, then it becomes unhealthy, and then it becomes bondage. It becomes something that we think that, you know, we talk about constantly, and not in a good way, you know, in a comparison judgment way. and then we can be very much religious on it. And God doesn't want us to look at it like that. He created us to love who we are. And that starts with loving ourselves even when we're bigger, before we even get to the skinny part. Because if we don't learn to love ourselves when we're bigger, we're not even going to love ourselves when we're skinny. We're just going to look in the mirror and be just as disgusted as we were when we were bigger. It's just in a smaller package.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned that because I've been on both sides. But I do believe that if we follow what God has created us and the tools that He's given us, and even the children that He's given us, if we follow the examples that He's placed in our path, then we don't have to be so overwhelmed. That it's all there, and He's very much aware of what we need, and He can guide us in the direction that we need to go. And I think that is my favorite part about learning about, doing this health journey with Sadie, is knowing that God is there. He hasn't left. He didn't ask me to do it by myself. He gave me the tools that I need to move forward, and He gave me, the daughters and the son to show me how life looks through different lenses. And I'm blessed.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah, I think it's very cool. And even I learn from watching you watching me. And
Yeah.
I find, and I watch my brother learn as he's watching me.
Yeah, he's been fun to watch because he's super into watching the girls, all of them. He pays very much attention to what they do and how they do it, and then he starts imitating it, being the baby, even though he doesn't really look like the baby. He is the baby, and we all do that. We all mimic each other, especially in family. We find a role model, and then we want to do everything they do. But I challenge you guys to not only find a human role model, but follow God. He's our ultimate guide. And when you're straying off and you're not sure exactly, then He comes in, and sometimes in my case, He's not always that gentle. He just confronts me right on. But that's my personality, and I like hard truth. I like to, when I'm not on the right path, for Him to tell me that I'm not. That's what He does. He shows me, just like this morning, He was showing me that there has to be somebody able to measure out the things that He has created us to do. And that's what Sadie's doing. She's measured out what it takes to do this health journey, and she's mapped it out for us. So there's really no guesswork left. We just have to follow through with it. So her advice is super, super good, and I really enjoyed it. We love you guys. We're going to close out this podcast, and if you guys have any, if you want us to talk about anything, leave comments, questions, and we'll go through them. This is a mother-daughter podcast that we just like to sit and chat. We just want to be able to be useful and move in the direction.
We do this for hours outside of the phone.
Yeah, we do. And the only thing now that we're doing is recording it. So welcome to our world. But we love each other. We love you. And Sadie's going to pray us out, since she's our example for today.
Okay. Dear God, I just thank You for today, and I thank You for being very present here as we try to find direction to the path that You want us to have. I pray, God, that as we receive this information, our hearts are very fertile, so the seeds that You plant can grow and be very prosperous. God, I just pray for the people on the other side of the camera, and I just pray that as they receive this information, that You show them how to use it, and You show them how to steward it, and You just show them that you built and You made them capable of all of this. We love You so much, God, and we just thank You for being here and for the compassion and love and direction You've given us in our lives, and You continue to give us in our lives. We just love You, God, and we thank You. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you guys for spending this time with us, and we'll see you next week.